Hello everybody, I welcome you all to NCAS Geology class. In my previous classes, I have discussed some of the optical properties of minerals. Now, I will discuss on some other properties of minerals based upon light. First, I will discuss about color. So, what is color? Color of a mineral is the color of light that is reflected by the mineral to our eye, because any object that we see to be having some color, that means that color is being reflected to our eye, by virtue of which we identify the color of the object. Similarly, in case of minerals, the color reflected by the mineral to our eye is the color of the mineral. It is a striking property of mineral, but it is not always a diagnostic property of the mineral, because it depends upon several factors. Color of a mineral is not always a diagnostic property. So, upon what factors it depends? It depends upon the nature and arrangement of atoms in the mineral. If the mineral is made up of elements such as aluminum, sodium, potassium, calcium, barium, magnesium, they are light colored elements, and the mineral is found to be light colored if the minerals contain these elements. And there are dark color elements such as iron, chromium, manganese, cobalt, nickel, titanium, vanadium, copper. If these elements are present in a mineral, then that mineral is found to be colored. So, composition plays a role in the color of the mineral. The other point is the nature of bonding, how the bonding is there among the elements in the mineral, and accordingly the color is being decided. For example, graphite. Graphite shows hexagonal structure and it is black in color. But what about diamond? Diamond is composed of same carbon. Graphite is made up of carbon, diamond is made up of carbon, but in case of graphite, the packing is hexagonal, but in case of diamond, it is cubic and it is colorless. Then another factor is valency of elements. Valency of elements also controls. For example, if we see a mineral having ferrous ions, its color is green. If it is ferric iron, it may be red, brown, blue or green or yellow. So, valency of the elements plays a role. Besides that, the presence of impurities and the structural defects in the mineral, that also control the color of the mineral. As we see in case of quartz, we find a number of varieties: milky quartz, white, yellow, black, brown. So, these colors, they are controlled by the presence of impurities in the atomic structure of the mineral concerned. For example, citrine, it is citrus color or yellow, honey or brownish, and it is due to the presence of iron as impurity. Similarly, aventurine, it is green in color due to fuchsitic mica, or it is blue in color. Amethyst, it is violet to purple due to iron and natural irradiation. The color of minerals are described as idiochromatic if the minerals display a constant color, no variation in color, as we find in case of quartz. There is variation of color because of presence of impurities, but when you talk about the minerals which show idiochromatic color, they show a uniform color. But when you talk about allochromatic minerals, they show a varieties of color. For example, quartz, calcite, these are allochromatic. The elements that give a mineral its color are called as chromophores. So hydrochromatic minerals are generally malachite, which is green in color, azurite is blue in color, sulfur it is yellow in color, rhodonite rose red to pink in color, galena grey in color, sapphire blue in color, turquoise green to blue, greenish blue to bluish green. Hydrochromatic minerals are self-colored because of their composition structure. They are self-colored. They are not affected by presence of any impurities, but allochromatic minerals show different colors based upon impurities and defects. That is why they are described as foreign colored. Their color is found to vary depending on presence of impurity. That's why they are said to be foreign colored. Minerals with metallic luster vary a little in their color, whereas minerals with non-metallic luster show wide varieties of color. In order to study the color of the minerals showing metallic luster, their phase surfaces should be observed. For example, bornite. Bornite shows brownish bronze on fresh surface, but blue purple to on old surface. And bornite is known as a peacock ore. Color of non-metallic minerals are mostly allochromatic. For example, plagioclase. If it is albite, it is white. If it is anorthite, it is dark grey. Garnets, they show varieties of color, red, brown, red brown. Linopyrogens, they show varieties of color such as diopside white. If iron percentage is more than magnesium, diopside becomes light green. Heidelbergite, dark green. Augite, black. Tourmaline shows varieties of color, red, blue, green, brown, black. They are arranged in regular fashion. If we talk about corundum, it has two gem varieties, ruby and sapphire. Ruby is red, sapphire is blue. Sapphire is titanium iron bearing. There are yellow sapphires because of presence of iron. Pink sapphire because of less chromium than ruby. Green sapphire due to iron. Leuco sapphire, light colored sapphire, pure corundum, which is colorless. Beryl, it exists in form of gemstones such as emerald, aquamarine, morganite, heliodor, pure beryl. Emerald is green due to chromium and vanadium. Aquamarine is blue to bluish green due to iron. Morganite is pink due to manganese. Heliodor, it is yellow due to iron. Pure beryl, it is goshenite. It is colorless. Pure corundum colorless. Pure beryl is colorless. Fluorspar or fluorite, it shows patches of colors. So this is all about color. Let us discuss what is streak. Streak is the color of the mineral powder. If the mineral is being rubbed over the streak plate surface, the mineral leaves a powder, and that powder color may be different from that of the mineral color. Generally, streak plate is having hardness 7. The minerals which are harder than 7, they do not leave any powder on the streak plate surface. But the minerals which are soft, when they are being rubbed over the streak plate surface, they leave their powder on the scratch surface of the plate. And this color is being studied. And this color becomes diagnostic of certain minerals when it presents a color. the color of the mineral may or may not be same with that of the streak. For example, hematite. Hematite is brick red. Hematite is brick red or cherry red. Why a mineral powder is different in color from that of the mineral? Because it is a disaggregated color. The powders are in disaggregated form and the wavelengths of light that is transmitted by the mineral powder may be different from that of the solid mineral. So, the streak of the mineral is fairly constant and hence form a diagnostic property of the mineral. If all wavelengths of white light are transmitted, the streak becomes white. If all wavelengths of white light are absorbed, the streak becomes dark, grey or black. The minerals with white streak do not get identified on the basis of streak, but those which present color, in that case it becomes diagnostic. As we see, in case of hematite, cherry red; in case of azurite, it is blue streak. Blue color is because of red and yellow wavelengths of light that are being absorbed, and that yields blue color. Malachite, it is green streak. It transmits blue and yellow, so green color. Orpiment, it is yellow in color. Its galenite is lead green. Magnetite, ilmenite, black. Goethite, yellow brown to ochre yellow. So these are some of the characteristic streak colors on the basis of which these minerals are identified. Now, let me discuss about the play of colors. Certain minerals show a play of colors when they are being viewed in different directions of the mineral, and that is generally called as the play of colors. Such as, for example, diamond, it produces rainbow colors when it is viewed in different directions. Opal, it shows opalescence, that is pearly milky appearance. It may be moonstone, as if it is milky appearance shown by opal, it is moonstone. Feldspars, the color change is caused by interference of light reflected from thin plates of other minerals enclosed in parallel planes within the feldspar. So, within a feldspar body, it encloses these platy other minerals, because of which it shows play of colors, or it may have these twin plates. They cause this color variation, play of colors. Schiller spar, it is hyperthin. It also shows play of colors. If you talk about opal, the atomic structure is such that it favors formation of several colors when viewed in different angles of incidence. Here, the atomic structure presents arrangement of amorphous silica with small amount of water in form of spheres cemented by amorphous silica with slightly different water content. So, amorphous silica and water content varies, and because of which the color variation takes place. This arrangement causes diffraction grating for white light and resolves white light into several spectral colors in accordance with the modified Bragg's equation. N lambda is equal to mu 2d sin theta, where n is an integer, positive integer, Mu is refractiveness of the opal. Lambda wavelength of specific color transmitted. D is spacing between the spheres in opal, and theta is the angle of incidence and reflection. So, opal by virtue of its very atomic structure, it is because of presence of amorphous silica and water, it shows play of colors. The play of colors is generally called iridescence, is caused by light refracted and reflected from the closely spaced fractures, cleavages, twin lamellae, exsolution lamellae, and minute foreign inclusions in the parallel orientation. So this is the play of color that takes place in closely spaced fractures of minerals, in the cleavages, in twin lamellae, in exsolution lamellae, or because of foreign inclusions in parallel orientation. So these atomic arrangement or irregularity in atomic arrangement causes iridescence. If it is labradorite, that is called as labradorescence. If it is opal, it is called opalescence. Iridescence is also shown by albitic feldspar, peristerite, bornite, hematite, limonite, and sphalerite. In reflected light, some minerals show slightly silky appearance through play of colors, which results from closely packed parallel fibers or parallel arrangement of inclusions cavities. These are described as asterism and chatoyancy. So, what is asterism? It is star-like, six-sided star-like pattern of light scattered by the mineral because of the presence of inclusions at specific, because of presence of inclusions when these minerals are allowed to reflect light in specific incident angles. Asterism, it is star-like six-sided pattern of reflection of light or scattering of light, and that is caused by the presence of inclusions. It is found in ruby, it is found in sapphire, rutile, quartz. It is best seen in cabochon, polished stones. That means that these are not faceted stones. So cabochon polished stones, they show asterism. Similar chatoyancy, it is a characteristic pattern of light reflection through fibrous minerals where the fibers are bent. It produces a band of light that moves perpendicular to the fibers, especially when the fibers are in bent condition or in curved condition. Over fibrous minerals, so perpendicular to that we find the bands of colors, and that is called chatoyancy. But in case of asterism, it is star-like pattern of light scattering. All these are controlled by generally inclusions and because of the fibers. Then let me discuss what is luminescence. It is a property of the mineral by which it emits light or luminous when it is being subjected to an external source of energy. The energy may be heat source, the energy may be the X-rays, gamma rays. So In some cases, the minerals, when they are being excited by these energy sources, they emit certain color, and that is described as luminescence, and the minerals luminous or emit light. The external source of energy is not the direct result of heating. If it is through heating, then it is called thermoluminescence. So, luminescence includes the effect of exposure of minerals to sources of ultraviolet light, X-rays, cathode rays, gamma rays. So, these are the external sources by which they are being excited, and in that condition they emit light, or that process is called luminescence, and it is observed generally in darkness. We have seen fluorescent lamps. So, like that the minerals glow in darkness. If luminescence continues after exciting, the rays are cut off, the mineral is said to be phosphorescent. But there is no sharp difference between phosphorescence and fluorescence, because some minerals that appear only to fluoresce in refined methods to glow for a small fraction of a second after the removal of the exciting radiation. So, same mineral can show phosphorescence and also can show fluorescence. That is why there is no sharp difference between these two. Luminescence results when the transitional elements present in the atomic structure are activated by the energy source. On receipt of the energy, the electrons of the elements get excited and they enter into the higher energy level. But then these electrons cannot remain in higher energy level always. So, they fall back again to their initial ground state, and during that process they release heat and visible light of some wavelength. This causes the light. However, these excited electrons may fall back to an energy level intermediate between the excited state and the ground state. In that case, they emit a photon of light of lower energy than that which is provided by original excitation, and because of which we find fluorescence and phosphorescence. Fluorescence, it occurs when the minerals are subjected to short wavelength radiation such as gamma rays, X-rays and UV rays. The color produced during fluorescence depends on the wavelength of visible light emitted. For example, fluoride shows fluorescence. That's why it is name, from the name we should remember, it is fluoride, it shows fluorescence. Its blue fluorescence is due to presence of organic materials or rare earth ions. Silicate, it shows pale blue fluorescence due to molybdenum. Willemite and calcite, they show brilliant light due to presence of manganese. Eucryptite, under ultraviolet light it glows to salmon pink. Similarly, we have scapolite, diamond, halite, atonite, which show fluorescence. So, this is the diagram how in ground state the electrons of elements are activated because of the external source. They receive energy, get excited, electrons jump to the higher energy level in excited state, and then they gradually come back to the ground state. During that process they emit visible light. They becomes fluorescent. And phosphorescence, in phosphorescent minerals, there is a time lag between the excitation of electrons to the higher energy level and their return to ground state. Therefore, these minerals continue to emit light after removal of the light source, for example, pectolite. So, thermoluminescence, it is the property of the mineral to emit light when they are being heated. For example, tourmaline heated between 50 degree to 475 degree centigrade, it emits light. Triboluminescence, when a mineral is being compressed, rubbed, crushed or stressed, in that case it emits energy. For example, quartz, piezoelectric property, diamond, they emit light under triboluminescence, because stress separates positive and negative charge which recombine to emit light. Nowadays, synthetic phosphors have been invented which are used in fluorescent lamps, paints, cloths and tapes. So, this is all about color that I wanted to discuss. In my next class, I will discuss a lecture based upon this color, reflection of color, reflection of light. Thank you all for giving a patient hearing to my present talk.